Hey, this is Short John Red, and welcome back to what I presume to be the final episode of Cabernet, where we're apparently just a day away from the 21st century, and the year I was born. When did I get 2,000 coins? Okay, clearly there's...
My dear Anastasia.
I'm guessing she's no longer around.
After the divorce with Evgeny, she changed her last name back to her maiden one, Anastasia Tsvetkovich. It's been almost a century, but it still feels like it was yesterday when we parted. I remember it so well. After years together, I confessed to you my true nature. You were startled, but compassionate, comforting, as you always were. How I wish you had accepted my offer to turn you. But you chose a mortal life over the one I have, soulless and eternal. I, in turn, was understanding too.
Aww.
Besides, how would you listen to your beloved choirs within churches as a vampire? Rest in peace, my love.
Aw, that's... Oh, that's sad. I'm not gonna turn the TV on just yet. Vote?
Ah, my good old election poster for the local council. Felt a little awkward at the time having the artist draw me instead of simply taking a picture.
Why, is it because you can't be
But
photographed?
turns out vampires, sadly, don't show up on film, so had to stick to working behind the scenes. Still, the team certainly managed to change the area for the better. It is a shame, though, that I can't go into bigger league politics. Can't get too high of a profile. Otherwise, over the decades, people would start catching on. Well, in any case, there's certainly no shortage of work at this level. All of Anastasia's lessons weren't in vain. I'm glad I stuck with it. With a little practice, even the least gifted student would become decent in 100 years. I may have not taken it much further than that, but I'm proud to say that many a guest has been entertained with this particular instrument.
Okay. Is there a story behind this painting?
An appraiser friend of mine recently looked at this painting. Turns out, over the decades, it appreciated in value and is now worth a small fortune.
Really?
Don't think I'll ever sell it, though. Means too much to me. I heard vampires get quite attached to their possessions as they get older. Guess I'm not immune to that.
I guess not. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna do this whole epilogue in like one go.
Home sweet home. Over a century has passed, and I still can't get used to being this well off.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know what else I can interact with. Still have the blood
Well,
bottle.
Oksana, only a few hours left till we get to celebrate the much-anticipated year 2000.
The year I was born. Feels like such a long time ago, doesn't it? Well, not that I really remember that era since, I was born there.
The new year is flying fast towards us, and what better present for the nation than the first annual address of the newly elected President Chernov?
Absolutely. It's been a tumultuous year for our country with the tragic, sudden passing of the former head of state. Luckily, Anatoly Chernov promptly took matters into his own hands, first as acting president and now as president-elect, after the results of the official emergency referendum.
That's right, Maxim. President Chernov has already
Maxim.
demonstrated his firm and efficient governing style.
Maxim, wasn't that the guy, the name of that drunk shooter?
In his short time in office, he's issued orders to reinforce the defensive military budget and has also introduced a zero-tolerance policy towards illegal immigration.
Oh, boy.
Finally, our people will have the much-desired stability back into their lives.
Can't wait to hear what he has to say at midnight.
I can.
Me too. Say, Oksana, what are you going to wish for when the clock strikes 12?
Well,
Fools.
Fools indeed. Is that car?
Looks like your ride is here and already causing a nuisance.
Lisa's here too. And she's also got a different outfit.
That bastard woke me up from such a beautiful dream.
What was the
And
dream?
what was the dream?
That all the annoying drivers in the world were dead, obviously.
Of course you get annoyed by something like that.
Right. Of course.
Hey, are you all right?
Yeah.
You know you don't have to do this, right? Besides, it's not going anywhere. Why don't you come to the party with me tonight? Should be good fun. Arbin sent us a case of that delicious vintage Cabernet.
And Arben's still around.
I admit, it's very tempting, but I'm sorry. I can't. I have to do this on my own, and I have to do it now. I don't know why, but I feel that tomorrow won't be the same.
Fine.
Why is that?
You've always been a stubborn one.
Look who's talking.
Yeah, I was about to say.
You know you can call me any time, right? If you're in any trouble at all, just send a word and I'll tear them apart before they can say Happy New Year.
I bet you would, but I'll be fine, I promise. I'm pretty tough myself.
That you are.
I better get going before the car leaves without me.
Tell him if he wakes me up again, I'll curse his kin to the 5th generation.
I bet you will.
I will. Love you, my queen.
Love you too, princess.
What's going on?
Getting close now.
So,
Okay.
here I am again. Good to be back.
Where are we going?
It's hard to believe the last time I set foot here was around a century ago.
Are we going back to the town?
Vampires generally aren't allowed to stay in the same place for more than 20 years. Otherwise, people start asking questions.
That's probably a good rule to live by.
Small towns have surprisingly long memories, but you can usually come back once it makes sense for you to pass as your own offspring. Nowadays, they call permission to stay a vampire visa. Higher society granted me one for this town decades ago, but I just haven't been ready until now. I'm not sure why, but I feel like I owe my old friends a visit in this new millennium, even if it is at a cemetery.
Cemetery. Oh. So we're gonna go to the grave with some old friends.
Here we are. That will be 200 coins.
I thought I asked you to stop by the field.
Sorry, lady. No dice. Too much snow.
Disappear. What? I mean, I know I can afford it, but
200? That would be a ripoff even if you brought me to the right place. But you know that yourself, don't you?
like I'll pay you, but not 200.
Here's 120, and that's with a tip included, considering it's New Year's Eve.
Fair enough.
Negotiate a great deal.
If you don't mind me asking, why did you choose to come here? This place is, well, it's a bit of a hole. No offense.
None taken. Trust me, I know. Honestly, I'm not so sure myself. I used to live here. I guess I just wanted to walk down memory lane.
You sure you want to tell them
Well,
that?
good luck with that. And hey, Happy New Year's Eve.
Happy upcoming New Year.
What is this?
This monument was built to commemorate the brave men and women who saved dozens of lives and prevented further disaster during the town hall tragedy.
And she doesn't specify the year.
That night indeed became an important one in the town's history. Due to Yvonne's bomb being defused, the rescue operation was swift and simple, and those who weren't already dead or dying all made it back home. I wish the sign mentioned Gosha by name. She was the true hero in all this.
People like that always tend to be forgotten by
Without
history.
her, just like it says there, the outcome could have been a disaster for the ages. Since so many of the horrors beneath Town Hall were vampire-related. Shortly after the rescue operation, the Higher Society sent a hypnotist crew, a well-trained, powerful group of vampires. Of course, there wasn't any enchantment strong enough to completely remove those memories.
So they altered them.
However, they did manage to alter them enough to convince the humans that what they saw was all standard prison torture practices.
Standard prison torture.
Horrible and illegal, yes, but nothing beyond the depthless depravity of mortal beings. The corpse chamber and draining floor, no more than a gruesome dream that faded with the sunrise.
Whoa. Memories. Oh, are we gonna learn what happened to these people?
The infamous Savely Skortsov, the purportedly non-corrupt mayor of town, ended up being a ruthless sociopath. The fact that Gosha defused Yvonne's bomb meant two things for him. One, that the building didn't crumble on top of his own head after the explosion, meaning that he survived the night.
Let me guess, he escaped.
And two, that when I took the townsfolk to help free the prisoners, he was taken by surprise and captured.
So justice was served.
As one would imagine, given Saveli's deeds, he spent the rest of his life behind bars. Perhaps his greatest legacy is that he became somewhat of a folklore figure. Mothers in this area often frighten their children by telling them that Bloody Saveli will snatch them up if they don't behave.
That's a good nickname.
In contrast, the next mayor the town elected remained in his position for nearly a decade and was entirely inconsequential.
Well, better be inconsequential than being remembered as a monster.
During that whole time, he arguably did less to improve the town than Saveli did in a few months. But then again, he didn't organize brutal murders beneath town property. Well, at least that we know of.
And whatever happened to the Countess?
The Countess, predictably, kept adjusting with the times and growing her fortune. After the Cabernet producing facility at the town hall was destroyed, she took a loss and had to pivot. However, when the doctor terminated their contract, she never ended up finding a decent replacement.
Oh, really?
It didn't take her too long to bounce back, though. More partners came forward soon enough, and eventually other business opportunities presented themselves. Some say the Countess is now running one of the biggest mafia networks in the country.
Okay, there was another audio glitch there.
It's only rumor, of course, but in all honesty, I would certainly not put something like that past her.
Neither would I. And I'm pretty sure you're supposed to be dead.
Victoria. Wait a minute. Victoria. I never ended up telling someone to release her from the basement, did I? Since I haven't heard anything about her since, I have to assume she died from not having access to her vessel. What can I say? She should have thought about the risks before she tried to kill me.
Yeah. It's still, like, it says that she's dead, but for all I know, she could have escaped. I'm just curious. Well, we already know what came of Elisa.
There's never a dull night with Elisa. There aren't many who have the privilege of being friends with this mysterious creature, so I'm proud to be one of the lucky ones. How many vampires can say that they've seen the sunrise after being turned? I am yet to meet another but her. Only her unique blend of intelligence, passion, and a touch of madness could achieve
A
such
touch
results.
of madness. Yeah, that definitely describes Elisa very well.
Her technique, however, brought about much more than just her famous sunrise paintings, which I must say are a huge hit among the vampiric community. I often use a version of it in my clinic for both vampire and human anesthetic purposes, and have helped introduce this practice throughout the vampiric medical community.
But we obviously know where she is.
When her vampiric visa in town expired, sadly, Elisa had to abandon her hookah bar. Such is the fate of most vampiric enterprises. However, people remembered it fondly years after its closure and told stories of legendary nights spent there. The tales grew with embellishments until no one knew what was true, like any good story eventually does. There were vampires who attempted to recreate Elisa's success by building their own such establishments, but no one was able to quite capture her same type of magic.
Hopefully you can't hear that, but my dogs are barking. They're probably getting all worked up about something stupid again. Sorry about that.
Still, wherever she goes, she manages to start a new venture and turn it into something special. To selfishly put this all aside for a moment, I'm just so incredibly happy we're together. Who knew that I would fall for someone like her? But then again, there really isn't anyone quite like her, is there?
I suppose not. I'm guessing the cemetery is like the last place. Oh. Well, Arbin's still around, but...
While I still lived in town, Arbin stayed here for as long as her vampiric visa allowed. We had our fair share of adventures together, and to this day remain close friends. When she finally left, for a while she tried to maintain her establishment from afar. But alas, literary salons went out of fashion, and eventually they built a regular housing project in its place.
I mean, I guess that explains why I'm not familiar with the term when it comes to, you know...
Arbin overcame her internal struggles about siring and ended up taking several fledglings under her wing.
Did she now?
Unsurprisingly, each and every one of them is well and thriving.
I'm guessing she didn't want to make the same mistakes her own sire did with her.
She often credits me for that, but really, she's always cared for the newly turned, just like the moment I first met her. Arbin eventually moved abroad, but still sends me a case of delicious red every year. What do you know? The store is still here.
Okay, now the general store has become a supermarket.
If you're looking for champagne, vodka, or flowers, don't bother. They're all out.
Is that right?
Well, why else do you think I'm still open? All the demand and no other supply. That's good business.
Okay. And you
Happy
are?
New Year's Eve.
Why? I mean, I don't really have a choice,
The
do I?
bouquet over there, please.
Cutting it a bit late with the presents, aren't you? You'd better hurry home, or you'll miss the president's speech.
Not from...
Thanks, but I don't think I'll be watching this year. Not my cup of tea.
What? Why not? Don't you care about your own country? See, that's the problem with your generation.
Oh my god.
You hold nothing sacred.
Oh, really? And what generation do you think that is?
Generation of spoiled brats.
Oh boy.
You've seen nothing, done nothing, and fought for nothing.
Yeah, that... no.
You have all the freedom in the world, but no, you just complain and demand more.
God, so many idiots. in
Show
this
some
game.
respect and be grateful for once.
No.
Are you finished? Listen, I'm not who you think I am, but I don't expect you to understand that. Mark my words, I've seen this happen to our country time and time again. At this point, I feel it in my bones, like how some with arthritis can feel rain coming.
What are you babbling about, girl?
Every time there was hope, a person like that man came to crush it.
Oh boy, that hits way too close to home for me, but let's not get into that.
No one has found a way to break the cycle yet. So, of course, I've come to not expect much. All I'm asking is, think. Think and care about your fellow man. Then, make your own choices.
How much have you had to drink?
I should be asking you the same thing.
Enough for a lifetime. Trust me.
Can we please...
Happy upcoming New Year.
Yes, can we please walk away from that idiot? Wait, who's this woman?
It's moments like these that I regret making fun of the hussar for smoking.
Are you all right, dear? Hope you don't mind me asking.
Why do you sound so familiar?
You look out of sorts.
Yes. Yes, I am. Thank you.
Do you have a place to go tonight? It's New Year's Eve, after all. No good being by yourself.
Wait, why do you remind me of Fiena?
Thank you. I do have some old friends I'm visiting.
Oh, that's lovely. Just lovely. You know, I overheard what you were saying back there.
Did I get carried away?
Goodness, no. I would have said the exact same thing. I was just like you when I was younger. Didn't let anyone walk over me.
I'm not as young as I look.
Yeah, I'm probably way older than you are.
Let's talk again in 50 years, dear. See who's right about this.
I don't think that's a bet you want to take.
Sounds good.
That Chernov, though, he's trouble, isn't he?
Yeah.
Is that a real person or someone this game made up?
Just as we managed to turn this rusty ship around, they're pulling the wheel again. Still, all this time, I never lost hope. Not once. And you shouldn't either, dear.
Thank you. I think I needed to hear that today. You know, you remind me of an old friend of mine.
I knew that's where this was going.
Friends, of course. Sorry for keeping you, dear. Your friends are probably wondering where you are.
Don't worry. They're quite a patient bunch nowadays.
Yeah, they're not going anywhere.
Do you need any help carrying your bag?
Oh, no, bless you, dear. I live just around the corner.
Really? In the old apartment building?
That's the one. My great-aunt used to own it before the revolution, and I inherited it. I'm very lucky.
Your great aunt.
It's apartment number 1. Stop by for a cup of tea sometime if you feel lonely. Have a wonderful year, dear.
Thank you.
You're not...
Well, what do you know?
I don't suppose you're related to Faina, are you? What happened here? And of course, Anastasia.
Not long after our chat on the roof, Anastasia finally managed to finish her cello piece. The girl in the wine dress, she called it. I think I know who might have served as inspiration. The song was a breakout success, but it was only the beginning. Soon enough, she was one of the most renowned composers in the country. Anastasia lived a long and fulfilling life, and on top of all that, she never forgot her students. With her newly earned fortune, she rebuilt her music school, which is now one of the most prestigious establishments in Eastern Europe. It's also famous for its funding program for low-income students, allowing thousands of talented musicians to find their calling. To this day, her work is still studied and played all around the world, inspiring people decades after her passing. To no one's surprise, Anastasia and Evgeny never managed to patch things up. Soon enough, they got a divorce. An amicable one as far as those go.
Yeah, didn't she say something about how he was actually relieved? Oh, the vodka bar's still here. Oh yeah, I never spent time with you, did
Kirill,
I?
it's been a while since I thought about you. For as long as I stayed in town, nothing really seemed to change in his life. All the same tricks and schemes.
Yeah, I never really spent time with this one,
And
have I?
after that, needless to say, we didn't keep in touch.
Yeah, well, I barely knew
Call me
him.
naive, but I always felt there was more to him than met the eye.
I'm guessing that's the games that are telling me to replay it and find it, figure out his
Perhaps
story.
I would have learned more if I got to know him better. But, of course, it's a little late for that now. This place sure looks grimy, but not without its own kind of charm.
It's funny how a lot of these buildings got, like, changed or repurposed. And yet... Okay, I'm not gonna go there just yet. And Stefan.
On the surface, nothing seemed to change all that much in Stefan's life. At least for a while.
It looks like he's looking behind him.
Same old cards, drinks, and revelry. And, of course, intrigue seemed to follow him everywhere he went. But in reality, everything turned upside down once we freed him from Count Orlov's magic contract.
What happened?
He actually ended up sending his resignation to the Countess via postcard from the Bahamas.
Oh, that is awesome. That must have been quite a shock.
Apparently, Elisa was there to witness her fit of rage, and according to her, it was a sight to behold.
I bet it was.
As much as I would have loved to see it myself, mostly I'm just happy for Stefan. He seemed like a whole new person ever since. I'm also looking forward to meeting his significant other.
Yeah?
After all he's been through, for him to have another chance at love, something tells me he might have finally found his new happy eternity.
Yeah, happy eternity. Can I not go to that area anymore? You know, I'm trying to see, like, which characters... And the doctor, of course. I might have given a bit more crap than he deserved.
Dr. Volkov's story is not a happy one. Like so many talented people, he fell victim to his own work. His research left him fully addicted to blood. Every month he got worse and worse, until he truly was a shadow of his former self. One day, he just seemed to vanish. No warning, no note. There's no way to know for sure, but I'm worried that, despite all his fears, the doctor turned feral. There are few fates worse for a vampire. He didn't deserve an end like that.
And I probably could have prevented it if I had just, you know, got to know him a bit. I'm just trying to find all the profiles. Okay, there's nothing to say about the church. And I don't want to go to the graveyard just yet. How long have we been recording? Except there are no humans. Don't I have one though? You know, I'm just trying to... Whoa! What the hell was that? Fall from the rooftop. Unless this is the apartment she was talking about. I don't see anywhere else I could go.
Locked. Can't blame them, really. I guess I'll just have to do it like in the good old days.
I guess I am. I mean, I might have missed something. I'm fairly certain I missed something, but... Do I? Evgeny.
Unfortunately, poor Evgeny never quite managed to pull himself together. To my knowledge, he never published anything else.
Oh, that kind of sucks.
And his alcohol problem just kept growing, along with his debts. Eventually, he had to sell the house and leave town. I haven't heard much about him since.
And, okay, who's this?
To my relief, Demian was among the many lucky survivors who were rescued from the town hall dungeons.
Oh, he was the brother. There.
Perhaps even luckier, Demian never ended up on the lower levels of Savelli's underground prison. That left him relatively unscarred, and soon enough he seemed to be back to his old playful self.
That's good to hear.
One thing did seem to change, though. After the events of that night, I certainly noticed him working in the fields much more often. It's hard to find a silver lining to what transpired, but I suppose scaring Demian into a working man may have been one of them.
Huh. Is there... Oh, Roman.
Sweet Roman. He ended up traveling around the world at least 3 times in his lifetime. He managed to connect with all kinds of people and hear the legends of their homes and ancestors. It wasn't just for his pleasure either. He published several tomes on world folklore, which were translated to dozens of languages. He loved the people around him, and he shared that love in his favorite way, through his books and stories.
Gosha.
Gosha proved herself a true hero by disarming the bomb prior to the attack on Town Hall.
What happened afterwards?
Many assumed that after Yvonne, their golden-throated leader, went to prison, the local revolutionary cause would fall apart. But, yet again, brave Gosha came to the rescue. She assembled what was left of the group and pivoted towards peaceful change. Ultimately, she turned it into a legitimate political party that existed for decades after her eventual passing. During the years she led the movement, she helped steer the country away from many a tragedy, although, of course, plenty couldn't be avoided.
Good to know. No, she made a real difference. What happened to Petya?
I'm happy to report that Petya is still alive and well.
Really?
He is, of course, still bound to Matilda's body, but at this point, I think even if someone offered him a different form, he'd turn it down. He may have never made it as a great salesman, but in a way, the fact that he no longer interacted with customers in his new body only did him good. Petya opened a small doll boutique, and it turns out, when someone else was selling his dolls, people absolutely loved them.
Yeah, so he made them and someone else with more charisma would sell them.
He never took it personally, though. Petya was just happy that the dolls found good homes. Of course, to open a business, he needed a human for the paperwork, and who happened to step up but his old friend Elisa.
Really?
She was the face of his company for quite some time, during which they became the best of pals again. Human or vampire, that's something I never imagined happening in a million years.
Yeah.
But life is just full of surprises.
Good to know he's still doing alright. Marusa's buried a bit further away from her brother.
The funds I provided helped Marusa pursue the path of education that she so longed for, without her needing to worry about her family. Of course, with all her talent and natural stubbornness, she had no trouble whatsoever getting accepted to the best university in the country.
Oh yeah, I'd hate to think what happened if I kept on that previous save.
Marusa never forgot her community, and upon graduation, she came back to the village and helped make it prosper. Neither her family nor anyone else she cared for wanted for money and bread once she turned things around.
Okay, we are getting a lot of audio glitches in this ending.
Although I always considered the money I gave Marusa a gift, she insisted on paying me back every single coin.
That sounds like her.
But she didn't stop there either. Inspired by Anastasia's kindness and commitment to her craft, Marusa opened her own school to help children from low-income families. She arranged special stipends for the most promising students, and, with her help, many of the peasant youth from across the country managed to receive higher education. In her later years, the school grew and branched out to different campuses across the country. I knew she was a special one from the start. I couldn't have been more right.
Trophy.
Trofim ended up working for the Countess for the rest of his life.
I feel bad for never spending time with him.
He didn't drink much ever since our first encounter, and lived well into old age.
Well, I'm so glad the enchantment worked.
Was it a happy life? Who's to say? Perhaps it's not just drinking that makes one miserable.
Faina.
I only knew Faina for a short time, but somehow the memory of her has never faded. She meant a lot to me. She still does. Rest in peace, dear Faina.
And you.
I didn't know exactly what to expect when I told Gosha about the bomb, but she sure came through that fateful night.
Yeah.
As I learned later, Yvonne devised a backup plan in case the bomb didn't end up being delivered. But what he didn't plan was on his right-hand woman deactivating the explosive before handing it over to him. When the townsfolk saw what happened and understood the scale of the tragedy that was barely avoided, Yvonne was swiftly thrown into jail.
Yeah, good riddance.
I didn't hear whether he was ever pardoned, but I do know for certain that he never returned to politics.
Good. And, who are you?
Oleg and I never became close, but at least till I left town, he kept running the shop and seemed to be doing fine. Although, I'm sure he would have preferred to keep his hand. I always felt a sense of gratitude in him for sparing him. In retrospect, I think I'm glad I didn't end up taking a life for an old grudge, albeit a very heavy one. I wonder if the Rusalka is still out there somewhere. Did she ever forgive him?
You want to call her by her real name. Okay, I feel like that's about everyone. I mean, there's a cat, but I really missed out on that one, didn't I? Oh, and then there's Dragomir, but screw him. And then there was one I never met. Like, I bet it must have been like the priest or something, because although I never once encountered him in the game. I'm surrounded by ghosts. Are you ready to move on?
I did what I came for. I suppose it's time to go home.
What do you mean? It's
Oh!
a snake!
Huh. Strange. Snakes usually brumate over the winter. Their metabolism slows down, they stop eating, and hide out underground till it's warmer.
I wonder if... I never truly understood the snake metaphor.
Nobody must have come here for ages. I bet I scared it out of its hiding spot. Slithering back to the shadows. How the mighty have fallen.
Yeah. And then there's this old church.
Oof. The church sure has seen better days. What does the sign say?
I don't know. This building has been deemed dangerous due to a snake infestation and is hereby condemned. Demolition of the structure and consequent building of a public swimming pool is planned to begin this spring. Department of Health.
Condemned? Wait a minute. So, it's not technically a church anymore, and I don't need an invitation.
Huh.
Does that mean I can enter it?
That's interesting.
Wow.
The one place I've never been.
It's been over a century since I've been inside a church. I'd forgotten how it looks, what it smells like.
Well, I doubt it smells good because it's been a while.
I never quite made up my mind how I felt about religion before I was turned, and then it didn't feel like I could anymore.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But somehow it just feels good to be here right now.
Can I interact with things? Whoa!
Oh, damn it.
You dropped your medallion. What the?
The Morozov family. Minus father and me, of course. I remember how even before I was allowed to touch matches, in church, Mother would let me light candles for people we knew. I loved doing it, partly because of the excitement of the dangerous forbidden flame, but it was also more than that. Although I never knew if there was someone or something listening on the other side. It felt important. Why don't I light some candles now? I may not get another chance.
Huh.
I should get the candles first.
Oh, yeah.
I should get the candles first.
You already said that.
There. People tend to say only good things about the dead, but we all knew Father was far from perfect. Slowly but surely, drinking turned him from a kind and loving person into a monster. And I know more than most what it means to be one.
That's a self-deprecation there.
I wish this story had a happy ending, but
It doesn't.
Mom couldn't take it any longer and left the house a year after the summer I was turned. Her brother, Uncle Mitko, took her in, and Father didn't take it so well. His debts kept growing, and so did his drinking. He died from cirrhosis 5 years later.
I'm just gonna assume that's bad.
I often
A
wonder
disease.
if there was something else we could have done to help him. But the truth is, he made his own choices. Still, he was my father, and I knew that underneath his sickness, he loved me. And I loved him too. Of course, according to higher society laws, we're never supposed to get in touch with family, but I bent the rules just a little.
Did you?
I got into some trouble, of course, but that's a whole other story.
I bet.
Rest in peace, dear mother and father. It's not easy being an older sister, but being a younger brother must have also had its challenges.
He didn't make it.
And Kolya. Poor Kolya. If only things worked out a little differently, maybe he would still be around. It was my fault. I miss him very much. Rest in peace, dear brother. Funny thing, for over a century I've lived so many lives.
I bet you had to change your name a few
Different
times.
names, cities,
Called it.
friends, and enemies. I've seen more people live and die than one can count, or care to remember. But even after all this time, I still think about my family. They never faded away. I could have done things differently,
Oh,
and every day I have to live with my choices and my mistakes. Some of them are heavy and bury themselves deep in my gut.
yeah, can I be weird for a moment? That is a very pretty face.
From what I hear, every vampire receives a keepsake like that sooner or later. Maybe that's the true payment for eternal life. Or maybe it's a part of any life, really. I don't know if they ever fully go away. If I'm honest, I don't think so. But they remind me to do things differently, to be better. And when I do, sometimes I feel human again. Last candle left. I think I know what I'll light it for.
Oh,
I've seen people in this country go through so much suffering. Wars, revolutions, tyranny, famine. So much has happened, and yet so little has changed. Some people say this country is cursed, hopeless. I don't know if I believe that. I've seen fates crushed by a short sentence. I've seen lives saved by a simple embrace. No matter what they say, a person's choice can make a difference. So you might as well do your best. Who knows? Maybe one day we'll all make enough of the good ones. And for now, there is hope. Demons may be hereditary, but we are in charge of them.
Yeah, that's what Arbin said earlier.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year!
And that's Cabernet. So, I guess I should probably, you know, spend some time talking about how I feel. Like I've had a great time with this game. I mean, it's far from perfect. There are definitely some, like, the collision detection is a bit weak. And the puzzles, the few that exist, are really frustrating. But still, I really like the art style. The characters are really interesting. The light will await you and me. This is a really... Sorry, I'm really bad at articulating my thoughts. And apparently Lisa's voice actress is singing this song. Yeah, there are a lot of... It has a lot of interesting lore. Interesting, like, you know, choices. I'm glad that it's not, like, a completely, like, binary good choice, bad choice. At least not completely. And I do want to play this game again, but, well, in my own time. As for this series, this is pretty much it. All correct. What the heck is all correct? Warlocks? Really? Sorry, I'm just trying to fill the space, but I just... Like I said, I'm bad at articulating my thoughts, and I'm probably just repeating things I already said. Yeah, there's still a lot of things I missed out, so... But, yeah, anyways, I know not many people are gonna play this, are gonna watch these videos, because it's not a super well-known game and it came out fairly recently, but to the people who stayed, who actually did watch the videos, thank you for that. It was really wonderful experience, and well, definitely something. How long have we been recording? Yeah, that makes about sense. So yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do from here on out. Like, it's gonna be some time until Scarlet Hollow updates again, and I mean, I do have some ideas. Like, I think I want to do just one big, like, a few hours long playthrough of another relatively unknown game called Bad End Theater. Like, I think I want to do that, and also, I might have some videos related to Ben 10, but I'm gonna wait for, like, you know, a good opportunity, and I also need to figure out how to get OBS to record my desktop, but anyways, look, thank you all for watching, and as always, stay safe out there, have a good day. This was Short John Red.